Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Taj, and I'm back today with some more free tea. Oh, my voice is still sounding like Barry White because I just got up not too long ago. And I just came back from my morning walk in nature, and I need some water. Hold on. Okay, so I've had my water. Before we jump into this, if you have not already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that post notification bell so that you are notified every single time I upload a video. So y'all, I got up this morning and I realized that I had another dream. Y'all know I'm always dreaming. So this time in the dream, to make a long story short, I ended up in this house, and the last time I was in a house too. The last time the house was a maze too, but okay. So anyway, I ended up in this house, and this house, I was supposed to be cutting through this person's house in order to get to where I was going to, which was a football game, right? But the people that I went with, they had walked in front of me, and I had to park my car and all that stuff, and they were like ahead of me. So by the time I parked my car and all that good stuff, I couldn't see them anymore. So I wasn't really sure which route they took to get to the football stadium. So I saw people going through this house, and I was like, oh, okay, I can go through this house. And on the front porch of the house, there was a kid, well, two children. One of the children I had taught before, he was a fifth grader. Very, very smart. The same energy as in real life that we had, when I was his teacher. The other kid I saw was younger. This child was like in, I guess, about the second or third grade, probably first or second grade actually. This child was very young, and I never taught this particular child before, but I knew this child's mom. So I was on the porch, and the fifth grader that I knew, he was doing something else. He was into something else. And so I was like, hey, can you show me, can you walk me through the house to get to the football stadium? And he was like, well, I can't right now, Mr. Hunt. I would love to, but he pointed at the other kid, the first or second grade, and was like, he can help you. And I was like, okay. I was like, I know you, and I was just being real nice and sweet to the child or whatever. So I was like, are you going to help me get through the house? And he was like, yeah. Now, keep in mind, there were adults outside, sitting outside around the chairs, because apparently this particular house was near the football stadium. You kind of know how sometimes, especially if you're where I live, where our football stadium is, like if you live in a house or a neighborhood behind the stadium, you can still kind of see the game and hear what's going on and all that stuff. So it was kind of like the energy of that. So anyway, this kid started taking me through the house, and I realized quickly, like, dang, I'm having to jump through a whole bunch of hoops just to get to the back of this house. I'm having to jump through hoops. I'm having to climb like what look like monkey bars. I'm having to go through tunnels, and it's just so many different rooms in this house. And it just felt like at a point we were like, it was never ending, we were never getting to where we're supposed to be going. And I was like, you know what? I'm just lost. We're lost. Let's just go back, and keep in mind again that as we're going through this house, I'm passing adults. I'm seeing adults in the kitchen, and I'm seeing other adults sitting in, different rooms watching the game on TV. But never once did I say anything to any of the adults. I'm just trusting in this child to lead me through this maze house in order to get to the stadium. So anyway, I turn around, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go back, because I don't think you know where you're going, and we're lost, and I'm tired, and I don't want to keep going. Just take me back to the front, and I'll just take the long way around the house to get there. So as we're going back, it was even rougher time getting back. I'm like, dang. It seemed like was as we were going back, things had changed, right? So it wasn't like a normal, oh, let me retrace my steps, because again, the house was like kind of like a maze. It was very confusing, very hard to get out. But finally we made it back to the front. where the front porch was. And by this time I was just so tired, so exhausted, had wasted so much time I was at the point to where I was like, you know what, let me just ask this adult like where to go. So I gathered up, you know, whatever I need to gather inside of me. And I was finally like, you know, excuse me, could you help me get to the football stadium? I've been trying to go and we've been lost, you know, in this maze, and I just can't get there. And she was like, oh, sure, yeah. And she walked me out, showed me, like, pointed me right there with no problem. So long story short, I got up, woke up and realized, like, dang, I had a dream. Now, the night before, or a few nights before, I'd had a dream where I was lost. But this time, like, I was running and there were people around, but still, I never asked anybody, like, which way to go, how to get out, none of that. So when I got up today, that dream just had me kind of shook, because I'm like, why do I keep having dreams about being in a house with you know, all of these obstacles that I'm having to navigate around, and being in houses where it's like several changing rooms and it's like a maze feel, and I cannot, for whatever reason, find my way out of this house. So I went into meditation with the intention that, you know, it would be revealed to me why I'm having these types of dreams. Why do I feel, you know, why am I having these dreams where I'm lost and I can't find my way out? So I set my alarm clock for 22 minutes. So I went into meditation while I was at the park, and like almost instantly, which I guess it wasn't instantly, because when I came out of meditation, I only had like 3 more minutes left on the clock, but almost immediately I felt this, it's like there was this voice that was like, you're afraid to ask for help. Now, before we get into that, I just had a conversation with one of my friends. We were on the phone for a few hours, and he was just like, and he's also an entrepreneur, and he's been an entrepreneur for almost 20 years, I think he said. But anyway, we were talking about that. Actually, it was the day, so my last video that I tried to post, I couldn't post it. I was so frustrated. Like, I'd spent so many hours that day filming, editing, and all this good stuff, and it would not download. But long story short, I was talking to him about that. You know, we were texting at first, and then he called, and we were just talking about it, and he was like, well, why didn't you ask for help, you know? And I was like, well, nobody could help me. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, nobody could help me. So throughout that conversation, we just began to talk about business and being in entrepreneurship and things like that. And most of the conversation was about asking for help. And that never sits right with me, because I realized that I don't like to ask for help. And I don't ask for help for anything. You know, if I ask for help, it is because I have tried everything that I know to try 1,000,004 times, and it just ain't working. And now I'm at the point to where I have to ask for help. So, and also keep in mind that I've been kind of aware that this was a problem, but I've always kind of like pushed it away, because I'm like, I can do it by myself. You know, I can do it by myself. And I realized that this trauma response, because that's what it is, comes from, you know, I feel like early in my childhood, the people that I was supposed to ask for help from and were supposed to be happy to help me always, you know, I felt that they felt bothered by me asking for help. And I mean, this is when I was a kid. You know, I always felt like I don't want to ask for help because they're going to be aggravated, or they're going to seem annoyed, you know, or they're just going to flat out say no. And so I think that is where my trauma comes from when it comes to not asking for help. So from a very, very, very young age, I've always, I kind of had to learn to become extremely independent, because it seemed, you know, I never wanted to seem like I was annoying anybody, or, you know, either that or the feeling of being rejected, or, you know, told like, no, I can't help you. you know, I don't know, it just puts you in a very vulnerable state. And so from a very young age, I've just grown to become very independent as far as doing things for myself. But as my friend stated in our conversation, like, everybody needs help. Like, you can't do things alone. If you look at successful people, they have a team of people helping them. Like, you can't do everything on your own, and it's okay to ask for help and to need help. But back to the dream, like, y'all, I'm also a Taurus, very, very stubborn and kind of just a fixed sign, you know. But even in the dream, there were so many adults around, and instead of me asking one of the adults for help, I'd much rather ask a kid who I was more familiar with, you know, because I taught one of the kids, and I knew the other kid from just being around at the school, and I knew his mom, so I felt more comfortable asking a child for help. And I was kind of analyzing that, like, why did I ask a child for help who, and keep in mind, this kid had me all over the place, never got to the destination at all. And so it's like, it's almost that sense of being intuitive enough and being wise enough to know who to ask help from. You want to ask for help from people who have been there. So when it comes to business, you know, you don't want to ask, you know, someone who just started a business. You want to get help from someone who's seasoned, who's a vet in the game, you know, who can truly lead you and guide you into the direction that you are trying to go. But so, you know, I guess me having this dream was not just out of the blue, out of nowhere. You know, it's coming a time, you know, I feel like I'm in such a, like a transitional, such a crucial transitional phase within my life and within my spiritual journey, that a lot of my shadowy aspects are coming to the surface for me to deal with them. And one of the most dominant shadow energies that I have to release is releasing the fear of asking for help. I have to release the fear of asking for help, because otherwise I'm just always going to be stuck in this vicious cycle, only getting so far, you know, because I can't do it all alone. Another example. So 2 days ago, I went to Walmart and I went for water specifically. I wanted some alkaline water, a specific type of water. So I get to the back of Walmart where the water is, and I realized that the specific water that I wanted was all the way in the back. Excuse me. It was all the way in the back, and like all the way in the back of the shelf. Like, I would have had to like climb the shelves, and it was unreachable. Okay. I couldn't reach it. But instead of asking for help, I just kind of stood there trying to figure it out for the longest. And I realized, like, dang, I can't grab this water on my own without literally climbing these shelves like a tree. And I'm not about to do that because there's so many different people on this aisle. And they're probably going to be looking like, girl, I know you ain't. So I was just like, ugh. So I just grabbed some other water just to grab that, in hopes that the next time I went back to Walmart, the water that I wanted would be in reach. So the next day I had to go to Walmart for something else. And I was like, ooh, let me go to the back and look and see if they've restocked the water and put it in the front. So I go back there. Lo and behold, the water's still in the same place it was the day before I went looking for it. So I was like, crap. So I stood there again for another 5 minutes or so, trying to figure out, like, am I really about to climb this shelf? Because at this point, I'm like, I don't care who's looking. I need to get this water. But there was nothing in me that was like, ask someone for help. You know, ask for help. It never clicked. And y'all, this is not good to be this independent. This is a trauma response, and I'm clearly aware of it now, because it's like my higher self, God, the universe, is not letting me escape this shadowy aspect of myself. Like, I have to get a grip on this. But anyway, so I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, how am I about to get this water? So this time on the aisle, there was a man who worked there at Walmart, and I kept looking at him like, okay, am I about to ask him or am I not? So it took me about another 5 minutes to gather the courage or whatever it was I needed to gather in order to ask this man who works there, this is literally his job, to grab this water for me. So finally I asked him, and he was like, ooh, that's all the way in the back, ain't it? And I was like, yeah, it is. he was like, okay, well, I need to go, and I'm gonna have to go and get a ladder or something from the back to see if I can grab it. At that point, because I felt like it was too much of a hassle, I was like, no, that's okay, I'll just get some other water. He was like, no, it's okay, it'll only take me a second to go back here and get the ladder, and I'll come back and I'll grab it for you. I was like, okay, but you don't have to. Why am I like that? Why am I like that? I mean, I know why, but still, why? So he insisted on getting the water, and I was like, okay, fine, since you insist, you know. So I stood there. He went to get the ladder, came right back, grabbed the water in no time. Like, it literally took him no time, not even 5 minutes. Gave me the water, and I was like, thank you so much. And he was like, yeah, no problem at all, no problem, thank you. And he was just so willing to help. And that's one thing that my friend was telling me on the phone. He was just like, you know, most people don't mind helping you, you know. But for me, and even saying that out loud right now, that most people don't mind helping, in my mind and in my heart, I'm feeling like, yes, they do. And, you know, that's coming from a place of, I don't want to cry. I don't know why I feel emotions coming up, but I just feel like, you know, growing up, again, the people who I feel were supposed to help me do normal kid things that most kids can't do on their own, you know, would feel so super annoyed that I was asking for help. And so that kind of did something to me as a kid, you know. I don't want to cry. It kind of did something to me as a kid, you know. And so I grew up with this, like, I don't know what to call it, but from that point, you know, I never wanted to feel like that again. I never wanted to feel like a burden. I never wanted to feel like I was annoying someone. And I also never wanted to feel the feeling of being rejected if I did ask for help, and the person who, you know, they just flat out say like, no, I can't help you, or no, you know. And so it just stems from a kid. But I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm becoming more aware of the things that I have to change, and I'm actually going to start making progress. And even in my video before, if you guys watched the video about being resilient that I just posted right before this one, I spoke about, you know, I remember saying, oh, I could just thug it out until Thursday. And it's like, now looking back, it's like, that's a trauma response, because there are people in this world that love and care about you, that will help you, you know, not be in the dark until Thursday, you know. Like, why are you just okay with thugging it out? And again, I've been so accustomed to just being so independent and just dealing with things as they are, and just being like, okay, with this, I'm all I got. But the moral of the story is that I became super, super aware of the dark side of me that doesn't like to ask for help. And I realize, and I'm now understanding, that that is a trauma response, because when you have that type of thinking, it immediately isolates you and makes you feel like you're alone, which is why in situations that are very, very small, kind of like me not being able to upload my video, y'all, I was so frustrated, I wanted to cry. And situations like that trigger me in such a way to where, like, I just want to throw my phone and scream like, I can't do it, like, I'm by myself, I'm alone. And it brings up and triggers those feelings of isolation and being alone and not having anyone to depend on or count on, or, you know, it just brings up all of that. And I just go on a downward spiral for the day, you know, because y'all know I don't stay on a downward spiral for too long. But I do have a lot of instances where I am on a downward spiral simply because those feelings of isolation and being alone and feeling like I don't have anyone to count on, where I'm triggered and those feelings come to the surface. But today, I am putting all that to rest. I'm letting it go, and I'm going to intentionally start asking for help when I need help and not being afraid of the response that I get back. Because honestly, in situations where I have asked for help, whether it was in a dream or in real life, when I finally did ask for help, the people or person had no problem, no issue. In fact, they were extremely happy that they were able to help. So I'm just so glad that, my subconscious and my higher self and God is bringing these shadowy aspects of myself to the forefront, because I realize, like I said before, that I am in a transitional phase where I am leveling up and getting to the next level. And the level that I'm trying to get to and the level of success that I'm trying to get to requires me to be able to ask for help, requires me to have a team of people that I trust and that I can count on and that I can depend on. And, I just can't do it alone. I just can't. And you can't either. So if you are a person that's like me, that for whatever reason you have a really difficult time asking for help or asking for things that you need, we have to get out of that. We have to get out of that mindset, and we have to start pushing ourselves to be strong enough to understand that, it takes the village. It literally takes a village to build anything. And so know that, yes, it's a good thing to be independent, but it's also a great thing to collaborate and to work with others and to have people that you can depend on and call on. But it takes you first, because nobody knows what you're going through but you, and so people think that you're fine because you're holding things in, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to live like that. It's not a good space to be. And it really keeps you more isolated and more in your own prison than you think. And so that independence kind of turns into it kind of works against you in the sense of feeling like you don't need anybody for anything. So that's my story today, you guys. I'm extremely happy, like I said, that I've come to this realization. Well, not really come to this realization, because as I said before too, I've known this, but I've pushed it down, because of my fear of asking for help. I'm just like, nah, I'm just independent. I'm just an independent woman. Like, no, girl, you just scared to ask for help. So now that I'm aware, like I said, I'm going to intentionally ask for help when I need it. And I'm going to reach out to people who are doing the same things that I'm doing, and ask for their help, whether it's emotional support, physical support, financial support, whatever it is. I'm going to start opening my mouth and asking for the help that I need so that I can truly get to my next level and build and create the type of success that I know I was sent here to create for myself. So comment down below if you are a person who, you feel like you're super independent and, you don't need nobody for nothing. You don't need nobody. You don't need to ask nobody for nothing. Comment down below if that's you, and or if you've been a person who, like me, you realized that was a problem, and let me know how you transitioned out of that and started really asking for help and becoming more comfortable asking for help. So let me know in the comments. Until next time, I'm sending you guys peace, love, and blessings.